a podcast by Cipra.
Il podcast della Cipra.
Le podcast de la Cipra.
Der Cipra Podcast.
Ciprim Podcast.
Interviews, background talks, and voices from all Alpine countries. Listen to this and more in the podcast of the International Commission for the Protection of the Alps, www.cipra.org/podcast.
Imagine a place where the air smells of wildflowers, where rivers are untamed, where communities live in harmony with nature and question societal norms of our common world, where sustainability is not just a buzzword but a way of life. This isn't a dream. These places exist, and they are what we call utopias. My name is Michael Gams. Welcome to our podcast, where we embark on a journey to visit utopias in the Alps from Slovenia to France. Utopias as u-topos, non-places, are places that do not exist, but that are invented to tell things about our common world. The goal is to create narratives and a common world that could fit in the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. Utopias can be what we call good examples, and sometimes utopias are just mental creations, places, projects, or people. They are designed to let young people explore the Via Alpina route, a path that connects the 8 Alpine states. In 2024 and 2025, within our project Via Alpina Youth, Walking the Change, multiple visit utopias have been visited. Today we'll meet the people behind the scenes who organize these excursions and those who make them thrive by choosing a different path in a world that moves faster every day. So pack your curiosity and dive right in with us. Now I'm happy to have Maja Kogošek with me. She is the project manager of Via Alpina Youth. Hello Maja, and thank you very much for being with us today in this podcast.
Hello Michael, thanks for inviting me to the talk.
Please tell us a little bit more about the initial project idea, Maja.
So the Via Alpina Youth project is based on the Via Alpina hiking route. It's quite a big project that began in 2023 and it's now in a finish line. And the aim of the whole project is to share knowledge, ideas and opportunities related to sustainable lifestyles, inclusion and nature conservation along the Via Alpina route. And in this thematic section of the Visit Utopia that you mentioned before, young people had the opportunity to visit and discover places, initiatives and stories that somehow tell or showcase different and positive stories about the possible future. Otherwise, the partners had pretty free hands and they could really choose the topics that they have interest in. And that resulted in a very wide topic range, from untouched nature, social projects inspiring individuals, to history museum and sport activities.
Maja, why do you think it is important to have these utopias?
I think that utopias are important because they offer hope and direction at a time where many people feel overwhelmed by crisis and bad news. They show that sustainable alternatives already exist. And what is, in my opinion, also very important, they often create spaces for connection, dialogue and community. These are the things that we all need if we want to stay motivated and engaged for shaping social change. Besides this, they also remind us that change is possible, even through small local actions and personal decisions, and that each of us can make a difference. So they inspire courage, strength, and they give us courage and strengthen our sense of belonging. The nice thing about utopias is that they show that a more sustainable and caring way of living together is already happening. And I really hope that these excursions were also inspiration for young people to somehow try to engage in their communities.
So what you said is that these utopias already showcase that small steps can make a big difference. What was the biggest challenge in organizing these Visit Utopias all over the Alps?
In the project, many different partners took part. We have different experiences in organizing this kind of events, and that's why we had different challenges where some people, some partner organizations maybe struggled with forming a youth group and like expanding their work to other target groups, so to young people. Others lack creative ideas of what Utopia could be. I think we all had the one challenge, and that was that we wanted to make a video campaign from the Utopias. And despite we organized a video workshop, it was pretty visible that none of the partners actually is keen of working with digital material. Like photos are not a problem, but creating an inspiring video was pretty challenging for many partners.
So let's dive in maybe to the first Visit Utopias. Actually in your old home country, Maja, Slovenia. Our colleague Diana Zatakovic organized several Visit Utopias, from meeting a female mountain rescuer to an inclusion project, as well as building dry stone walls. Let's hear what she has to say about these experiences.
All three events were truly inspiring in their own way. I was especially impressed by the level of interest from young people because we received many applications, and in the end, for each Visit Utopia, we had to make a selection, simply because the number of spots were limited due to the budget, and in one case also due to the mountain safety considerations. But I have to say that I saw that young people are motivated and curious, and they're eager to learn and explore and even hike for several days. And this is quite the opposite of what some older generations are saying, because some of them are saying that young people nowadays are lazy or uninterested. But what I saw is that this is not true. It is just important that we need to find a way how to reach these young people, and also we need to find the right way to communicate with them. And I was also struck by how deeply some young participants were connected with the cultural heritage.
What did you personally learn from visiting these utopias?
I learned that when you really take the time to look, there are actually countless good practices happening quietly in the background. Many of these topics never make it into the mainstream media or on social media, but on another hand, these stories of these local people are the ones that hold an incredible amount of knowledge and inspiration. So I realized that it's really important to shine a light on these issues, and it's important to bring attention on the stories that usually don't receive much attention. So, for example, community-based living or the role of women in the mountain rescue teams. So for me, visiting these places showed me how valuable it is to bring these conversations forward, and it's really valuable to make space for voices that are often overlooked.
How many young people participated altogether in these Visit Utopias?
In total, there were 40 young people that participated in our Visit Utopia activities. But I'm actually really happy that we also had some other volunteers joining from different age groups. So altogether, in all our events, there were 65 individuals that took part. And I found this really valuable because we also created this bridge between generations. So young people and older volunteers could share the knowledge and experiences. And I think this really enriched the whole learning process for everyone who were involved.
What was their feedback? And what was especially surprising to you?
We received a lot of positive feedbacks, and I'm really happy that these opportunities allowed young people to experience things that they never got to experience in their life. Because some of the participants shared with us that they never had the experience before to sleep in the mountain hut. Others had told us that they never seen how a housing cooperative functions in practice, or that they were not even aware that there is a possibility to live in this way. Seeing young people getting inspired, it was really nice, and they also told us that they were really excited to see these good practices in person. And what they also shared is that they loved meeting new people. They created some friendships, and they also discovered that even though they were young people from different backgrounds, they actually had a lot in common. So they shared that they could experience in our events this sense of community and connection.
Do you have a favorite moment or experience connected to these utopias?
Yes, I would like to share something that happened in one of our last year's events. So among all the learning, exploring and hiking, also a bit of love sparkled. And now I could actually say that we have an utopian couple. It's actually a small but sweet reminder that when you bring people together in inspiring places, also unexpected magical connections can happen. And I found it really beautiful.
This was Diana Zatakovic sharing her memories about the Visit Utopia excursions in Slovenia. Let's move on to Italy. Fabio Tullio from Cipre, Italy, co-organized a visit to an art project in the Dolomites that reflects on the devastation caused by Via, a storm that hit the region in 2018 and destroyed large parts of the Dolomite forests.
For us, here in the Dolomites, the Palcovaya project represents a very powerful utopia. We must remember that in 2018, Storm Via was a tragedy that destroyed about 42 million trees and 42,000 hectares of forest. But this project, led by Cooperativa Lassù, is a utopia because it refused to look at what happened only as a disaster. They took the fallen wood, the cadavers of the trees, and built a theater right there in the landscape with a design that aspires to rebirth.
Fabio, why do you think this art project is a utopia?
It's a utopia of regeneration. It shows us that we shouldn't just limit ourselves to cleaning up the damage of climate change, but we can create a culture, art and beauty starting right from that disaster. Imagine a future where the forest isn't seen just a timber resource, but as a complex ecosystem where humans, art and nature communicate. It is a constructive hope. A stage to build dialogue between citizens, local administrators, artists and scientists on the theme of the climate crisis.
What impressed you most about it?
What struck me most was the ability to bring different worlds together. Usually, forestry science, administrators, citizens, artists and businesses are separate entities. Here in Cadore, we tried to connect everything. We saw science, understanding how the woods react to the storm and the attack of the bostrico, the bark beetle, mixing perfectly with local craftsmanship, artistic performance and courageous political choices. Standing there in front of those trees knocked down by the storm, which then became a work of art, it was emotional. It wasn't just an art installation, but a lesson in resilience. It strikes me a lot to see how local know-how became a tool to communicate complex scientific concepts, an opportunity to communicate the importance of not surrendering to dominant thinking, which is often driven only by economic interests. If I can add one last thing, I believe this visit showed the youth that the Alps are changing fast, but it also showed that we are not helpless. The Visit Utopias aren't about finding a perfect world that already exists somewhere. They're about finding people who have the courage to rethink the relationships between humans and nature and rebuild something new when the old world goes into crisis. For the Via Alpina youth, seeing the wounded forest, the impacts of Via and the bark beetle, the genesis of Palcovaya, and meeting these different professionals and stakeholders, it was proof that our mountains are still alive and they are just waiting for us to tell new, courageous stories.
This was Fabio Tullio talking about the Visit Utopias in the Dolomites. We stay in the region. Also, Tsipra South Tyrol organized some Visit Utopias. We asked Roland Planck, who works there, to share his experience. Roland, your excursions were about sustainable agriculture, social inclusion and arts. Please tell us more about them.
It was great to meet so many different and interesting people. Last year we met 2 farmers who work with organic agriculture. Farmer Marco Perry explained his view on organic vegetable farming. Farmer Valentin Innerhofer showed us his organic farm. This year we visited Vergissmeinnicht in Bruneck. The founder Sigrid Regensberger showed us how people with difficulties are included in the work of these social enterprises. At the end of the project, we met online. We shared our experience and talked about inclusion with the director of the art workshop and gallery Accent in Bruneck.
How did you stumble upon these utopias?
Both Visit Utopias trips started with building a group of young adults. Together we decided what we wanted to see. In 2024, we chose to learn how agriculture can be more sustainable in our region. So we did simple internet research. We found a presentation by Marco. He changed his farm from a milk farm to an organic vegetable farm. While looking for his contact, we found another organic farm in the same town. This was Valentin's farm. We also found a great video about him on the Farm Influencers website. After watching it, we knew we wanted to meet him too. That is how our first Utopia walk started. This year, 2025, the group wanted to focus on inclusion. We know the coordinator of the art workshop and gallery Accents, Sarah Singale, very well. So we asked her to explain inclusion and show us her work. She said yes, of course. But she also explained that the artists she works with have strong difficulties, so full inclusion is hard there. She invited us to visit Vergissmeinnicht too, because that place practiced real work inclusion. So we visited both places to understand the differences and the different needs.
What did participants say about it?
The feedback was very positive. Many said they learned new things. Visiting the organic farms and then eating together in an organic restaurant made participants think about their own habits. For everyone, it was nice to see that these places exist close to their homes. Without the visits, some people might think these ideas are utopias and not possible in real life.
In its southwestern part, the Via Alpina passes through a border area between Italy and France. Valle Stretta can be accessed from Bardonecchia, one of the few Italian alpine locations connected by rail. In a short time, you can travel from the center of Turin to the high mountains, discovering vastly different landscapes, as well as the challenges and opportunities of the region. Francesco Pastorelli from Tsipra, Italy, organized a Visit Utopia there.
We organized the excursion in the Bardonecchia area near the French border where the Via Alpina passes through, because Bardonecchia is a mountain destination that can be reached by train from Torino, where participants came from. From the train station it was possible to reach the starting point of the excursion by a shuttle bus, so we demonstrate how important are public transport for hikers. Not all the Italian valley are accessible by public transport, which limited who doesn't have a private car. The participants were mostly young people from the town of Torino, where there is a good public transport service, unlike in the rural and mountain areas. They also had the opportunity to experience stay overnight in a mountain hut, which was a new experience for many of them.
In Germany, 2 Visit Utopias took place, one in an untamed riverbed, another one at Obersalzberg, tackling the topic of nationalist ideologies in nature conservation. In Switzerland, a group of young people visited a microfarm with a beautiful view above Lake Constance. Another Visit Utopia took place at a farm called Ratzenbergli, a meaningful project centered around biodynamic agriculture and social participation of people with specific needs in the Bernese hilly landscape. The owners of the place also want to encourage social projects around the farm. The Visit Utopias in Switzerland were organized in cooperation with Pro Natura Switzerland. Tsipra France organized a Visit Utopia at the Lauteree Alpine Garden, located right in the heart of the Écrin National Park in France. It is raising tourists' awareness about climate change through science. A second excursion took place at the Marinée Glacier. Julika Jarosz from Cipra France tells us more about these Visit Utopias.
One was the Lottery Garden. It's a garden with 2,000 plants in 2,000 meters altitude. And it's also a living lab of the EU mission Soil for Europe for improving the soil health. And it's really interesting place to visit because it's French researchers and international researchers, and they're working there in this unique place in the Alps for having a hub of scientific experimentation and biodiversity. And we can go there to visit the garden, to meet the researchers, and to better understand the biodiversity in the Alps. And the structure also proposed eco-voluntary scientifically, which means you can help them to collect and to strengthen the research by visiting them. And the second Utopia we organized together with the organization Alpine, who did a 3 days hiking trip through the Utopias territory. And we organized one day to visit the glacier and to better understand the health status of the rocky glaciers in this area and how this is related to the global warming processes which is going on. We had the chance to have 2 interns at this period. They contacted our member organizations to get young people. They contacted the University of Grenoble and also an association which is called Claparando Université at Grenoble. And and especially our 2 interns were really organizing it from the scrap, which means they organized it from their wishes, from their ideas, what they wanted to see and to discover.
Now we return back to Liechtenstein. The project manager of Via Alpina Youth, Maja Kogauschek, is still here with me. You also organized a Visit Utopia here in the Liechtenstein Alps. It was a January snow hike in the mountains. What does a snow hike have to do with Utopia or Utopias?
With this Utopia, we wanted to share the knowledge about flora and fauna in the Liechtenstein's mountains and also talk about the climate change happening here. We invited Vander Kati, a hiking guide, to take us to the snow hike and talk about these topics along the way. She also included some mindfulness exercises because raising awareness of our body and supporting a calm, grounded state of mind is also an important part of connecting with nature. And the second core idea behind this Utopia was accessibility. We were imagining a future where the mountains are truly open to everyone, including people who normally don't have either the opportunity, the equipment, or the network of people with whom they could visit the mountains.
So who actually were these people who participated?
Yeah, we were a very mixed group from actually all around Europe. It was interesting to put together such a big group of young people that never was on a snow hike before. Everyone finished the day with a smile on their face, and I think that's a feedback that each organizer wishes for. They learned new stuff about the nature in the mountains. They learned a new skill, like snow hiking is not that easy, despite it looks like. They met new people, and what I see as additional value was that there were quite some people that recently moved to Liechtenstein and still need to practice their German, and this was a nice, safe space where they could also practice this language skill.
And maybe get to know also other like-minded people.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. In general, what was your main learning from all these Visit Utopias and other excursions along the Via Alpina during this whole project?
My main learning from all the visit Utopias and excursions along the Via Alpina is that change truly grows from small local actions, and that the change is possible if people really believe in their ideas. I saw that sharing motivating stories and creating moments of hope is incredibly important, and that young people actually appreciate these kind of experiences. And in the project, I also realized how powerful is it to bring young people together and take them into the nature. Because very often we have all the activities in inside spaces, in a very formal setting. And actually, it's a very different story if we take young people outside. We are in nature, in different setting, and we can connect with young people on totally different level. So not just with young people, we can also connect with ourselves and with nature.
What was your personal highlight, or maybe a certain moment that you still remember in a very positive way concerning these Visit Utopias and also the other excursions in the project?
So if I can choose from the whole project, I would definitely say the hiking camp in the Dolomites and in the surrounding of Chamonix. We were there with young people of different age, nationalities and social backgrounds, and being together 5 to 6 days, hiking in rain, cold, with backpacks, tired, sun, rain, many different stuff.
So a lot of challenges also, and not only sunshine and blue skies.
Yes, there were quite some challenges, but since the group was not too big and since we really tried to make it a safe space and a good space, we could tackle these challenges good. And it is, for me, it's very nice to see how people who never were hiking or have been so long outside go out of the experience with a smile and a wish to do it again.
You already mentioned some learnings, but is there anything else, a learning that you would like to add here?
I learned that cross-border cooperation is essential, especially when searching for positive stories. It's important that we collaborate, that we share the stories and that we learn from each other, because we all tackle with same challenges. And it's nice to see that there are sparks of hope all around the Alps.
Thank you very much, Maya, and thank you, dear listeners, for joining this audio journey to visit Utopias all across the Alps. I hope you enjoyed this episode. It was produced within the project Via Alpina Youth and co-financed by the European Union. My name is Michael Gams. Enjoy your time out there in the Alps together with friends.
A podcast by Cipra.
Il podcast della Cipra.
Le podcast de la Cipra.
Der Cipra Podcast.
Cyprian Podcast.
Interviews, background talks, and voices from all Alpine countries. Listen to this and more in the podcast of the International Commission for the Protection of the Alps, www.cipra.org/podcast.